Before you judge a man's life, understand the mind that lived it. We all wear scars you can't see. We all fight battles we don't post. This podcast isn't about perfection. It's about growth, lessons, pain, and power. Welcome to Mistakes Make a Man.
Welcome back to Mistakes Make a Man. I am your host, Dion, FOBB REEP, Caracciolo. I know I touched on a lot of things in episode 1, but I missed out some key things. So today we're going to talk about jail and death. Me going to jail, my experiences, and the people around me that died. You already know my podcast is sponsored by the Eris Books. Go check it out everywhere books are sold. Top selling book right now was Eris, Teach a Stranger Danger. I think the second top selling book is Eris and the Potty. But back to what we was talking about. So I went to jail at 16 for attempted murder, first degree assault, second degree assault. A couple things was in there. When they put these cases together, they just throw a bunch of stuff in there. They call it the shotgun method, where it's like they hit you with a bunch of charges and hope one stick. So still remember when I went to jail. I went to Upper Marlboro Detention Center at 16 years old. I was a juvenile, but because I was charged as an adult, they sent me to an adult jail. My first day in there was crazy. I remember waking up, me and my cellmate Leroy, and on my first day, everything just went downhill. So on my first day, they woke us up at 5 o'clock in the morning to clean our rooms. So we had to mop and wax the floor, clean the toilets, clean the sink, clean up all the trash in our cell. I know I said room, but my bad. Cell. So soon as we get done cleaning our cells, we hear these alarms going off. And everybody went to the front of their cell, the front door. Everybody standing at attention. I'm looking at Leroy like, what's going on? And he was like, oh, ERT coming in, inspection time. I'm like, who's ERT? And he's like, oh, the guerrilla squad, the goon squad, they coming to look for contraband. So I'm just like, okay, whatever. I don't know the procedures yet, but this is what it is. We got to wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning and clean our rooms before we eat. So I'm standing outside my cell, the biggest one out of all of them, dude named Zeus, big black gorilla looking dude with dreads. He go in my cell, and everything we just fixed and neatened up, man, he starts smacking everything off the shelves. He pulled the mattresses off the bed, like pull all our stuff down, and he's just going through it. And when he's finished, he decides that he's just gonna walk out and leave. So me being me, I put my hands up and I block. I'm like, nah, you gonna put all my shit back. So now he's looking at me like, young man, please move. And I'm like, cuz, you know how much work I just went through to clean this room? You gonna put all my shit back or else. And then I woke up somewhere else. When I woke up, everything was white, like ceiling, the sides around me, everything was white, but it looked like sheets. So I'm looking around like heaven looked cheap as shit. And somebody pulled the curtain next to me and was like, boy, you're not in heaven. You in the medical ward. I was like, the medical ward? I'm like, what? What happened? She was like, well, you came in here unconscious. So they finally put me back in my unit, H11. And all the guys in my unit, when they see me, they just start laughing. It was like, you wild. And I'm like, what you mean? They was like, man, You're the first person to stand up to Zeus, but you got what you got, basically. And I'm asking them, like, what happened? They was like, man, when you said or else, he punched you dead center in your face. He said you fell back, hit the ground, and you started snoring. So I had to live with that for a while. But prison, jail, whatever you want to call it, I feel like it's a good and a bad place. It can tear you apart mentally, but it can also build you stronger. It all depends on how you take it in. So because I was 16, I think I went to jail at 140 pounds, and I came out 285 pounds of muscle. Because like I said, I was in there with adults, so everybody was bigger than me and stronger than me. And my fear was somebody was going to try to take my booty. So me and Leroy, we used to do about 200 push-ups, 200 sit-ups every night, every morning, go to the gym in the middle of the day. Leroy was a pastor's son. Leroy was in jail for killing a police officer. Him and his friend did a robbery, and they got caught. And when it was time to surrender, they threw the guns on the floor, and the officers told them, walk towards them. And one of the officers, I don't know how true this is, but that's what he told me. One of the officers screamed out, gun, and they started shooting. And Leroy didn't get hit, but his friend got hit 3 times and got killed. So when he dropped on the ground, he picked up his gun and he started shooting back and ended up shooting one of the police officers in the head and killing him. So very bad predicament for Leroy, and I pray to God he's still okay, because I know he got shipped off somewhere, but I know he's in jail for life without parole. I met a lot of good people in jail. My homeboy Kenny went to Suitland High School. Kenny shot the security guard with a shotgun. Kenny's parents was rich, and he drove a different car, whatever. He had nice things, and the security guard kept messing with him, and he ended up shooting the security guard with a shotgun. Another guy I met in there, little Spanish guy, Oscar stabbed a couple people up in the McDonald's in Lanley Park. And another guy who killed the Domino's driver because the Domino's driver wouldn't leave without, accepting a tip. Didn't have any money to tip him. He told the Domino driver leave. The Domino driver put the foot in his door, wouldn't move, wouldn't leave. He shot through the door, killed the Domino's driver. I had 2 other friends, rich kids. They decided one night that they were going to take one of their parents' Benz, and they were going to see how many liquor stores they can rob in one night before they got caught. I think they robbed about 15 liquor stores, and then they got caught. But they believed that they were going home because all of their parents were lawyers, mother and father. So it was 3 of them. When they went to court, they had 6 lawyers. And I think they still ended up getting about 15 years each in jail. Jail is a terrible place, but like I say, it all depends on how you handle it mentally. We ate breakfast at 5:30 in the morning. We ate lunch at 12, and dinner was at 7 p.m. So you're starving. If you don't have commissary money or snacks, you're starving until 7 p.m. It was terrible, but you had to make it do. Because I was a juvenile, I wasn't given any sweets in jail. So on commissary, I couldn't order cookies, I couldn't order Kool-Aid, I couldn't order anything with sugar in it because I was a juvenile. When the food came, the adults had juice with their food. I had milk. I had to drink milk for breakfast, lunch, and dinner every day, which is why I hate milk to this day. I can't stand milk. I hate the smell of it. I hate the look of it. I hate the taste of it. but I had to drink milk every day. It was either milk or water. Breakfast was different. They would give us waffles, but it would be syrup in just like 2 squares of the waffles. So when I had my waffle, I had to like lean it to the side, and let the syrup drip all around. Just so, when I bite my waffle, I could taste a little bit of syrup. Yeah, I had to let the syrup touch like every square on the waffle before I would eat it. Lunch was crazy. The best dish in there was called SOS, shit on a shingle. I'm gonna repeat it one more time. SOS, shit on a shingle. I don't know what was in there. It was just a mixture of different things, but it was good. It was definitely, like, we used to get excited, like, oh, it's SOS day, like, yeah. So it was cool. Like I said, I met some really, and I don't want people to judge me because I say, oh, they're nice people because they kill people or rob people or did something wrong. Like, we all make our mistakes. I was in prison for my own reasons, but when you sit down and you talk to these guys, they were just really good people who got put in a bad predicament. One guy I was in there with, he stabbed a kid in school with a pencil. He put a pencil through the guy's temple. This kid used to bully him every single day. Every day this kid used to bully him, and when he would complain to the principal and complain to the teachers, they would tell him, man up. Stop being a bitch. Stop being a tattletale. Like, stop telling. Man up. So one day him and the bully got into it, and the bully told him, like, after school today, I'm gonna beat your ass. So him being scared, he sat in his last period, and he sharpened his pencil really sharp. And when they left out of school, when the bully grabbed him, he just and stabbed him in the temple with the pencil and killed him. And like I say, I don't know any of these things for sure. I'm just telling you what I was told. Yeah, I felt really bad for him because he didn't belong in jail. And because he wasn't that thuggish, ruggish person, nobody messed with him. They left him alone, but you could just look at him and tell that, I felt bad for him because I felt like he was put in that predicament to defend himself, and he turned out to be the bad guy. So it is what it is. During the day, we would go to the gym, work out. Like I said, did my push-ups, and we had shower time. We could watch TV. We had to be locked in our cells by 9 p.m. I remember I got put in the hole one time, and I think that was the worst experience I ever experienced. I don't know if anybody ever had a feeling where they feel like they died, like your life ended. Even though you're still alive, you just had that feeling like something went terribly wrong. But then you woke up, or you came back to life. I'm explaining the situation. So there was this guy that came in to lock up, came into our unit, called himself BG, Baby Gangster. And because I was quiet, he decided that he was gonna fuck with me. I said, I don't bother nobody, I don't start stuff, but I'm very good at ending it. So I'm sitting there one day, our trays came, and they made a mistake, and they put a piece of cake on my tray. They put a big ass piece of icing cake, iced out cake, whatever. They put a big piece of cake on my tray. Remember I said I wasn't supposed to have sugar in it. So I was so excited about that cake. So I ate all the nasty ass food because I'm saving that cake for last, because I'm like, oh my God, like I'm gonna lick the shit out of this cake. And right when I got to my cake, this fool comes over and he grabs my cake like this and took it and walked away. Like tears almost came to my eyes, like I wanted to kill him, but I know any situation you get into in prison, it just adds to your time. You know, I wasn't sentenced yet. I was waiting on going to trial. So tears came to my eyes, but I had to let it go because I didn't want to do anything else to add to my record for them to bring it up when I went to court. So I left it alone. Next day, we're in the gym working out. You know, I'm pumping iron. He decides to come in. And I guess because he punked me the day before, I guess he felt like I was a punk bitch. So I'm in there lifting, and he comes in and grabbed the weights, put it back on the rack, and tells me to get up off the bench like, you're done here. I'm like, excuse me? He was like, you're done here. Get the fuck out. Go do something else. So I said, okay. Left it alone. I say, okay. Baby gangster. So I stepped back. When he laid on the bench, I picked up, I think, the 10-pound plate, and I smacked him in his face with it a couple of times. Of course, the alarm started going off. ERT comes in. As soon as I saw Zeus, I dropped all the way the fuck down on the ground, flat on my stomach, face down. I didn't even look at it because I knew he was coming directly for me. So as soon as I saw Zeus come through that door and we made eye contact, I hit that motherfucking floor. Like I got down. So they end up putting me in the hole, which is 23-1. You're supposed to be in that cell for 23 hours a day, and they're supposed to let you out 4 hours so you can make phone calls and shower. I was supposed to be there for 3 weeks in the hole. I only made it out twice to shower in those 3 weeks. But for me, I thought I was only in there for 3 days because that's the only time I made it out. It was like, no, you've been in here for 3 weeks. So the whole time I was in the hole. Now you in a dark cell, no windows. You look out, it's dark. You can't see what time it is. You can't see if it's bright outside, nothing. You're just in a dark hole in the dark. Like I sang every song I knew. I made beats. I rapped. I prayed. I did push-ups. And it's like nothing you do makes that time go past. It's hard to sleep because you have more cells surrounding you. And people are in there like banging on the walls and screaming like these people are screaming bloody murder like they're being killed in their cells. And that goes on 24/7. You know, it's like a mental house. So I'm trying to lay down, I'm trying to sleep, and people are just screaming like, let me out, I'm gonna kill myself. Like it goes on 24/7. And I think one day I laid down in my cell and I felt like I faded away. I was literally floating above my body, looking at myself, laying there. And I was just like, this is it. Can feel it. And I'm not sure what happened after that, but I woke up the next day. I woke up the next day feeling brand new. I felt like I was a new person. I had a new attitude. Like, I felt like life had started over again. So, and that was the same day they let me out and let me know that my 3 weeks was up. So when I got sent back to my unit, of course, you know, the guys I'm cool with, we talking, yada, 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 yada. I remember my mom was trying to come visit me, but every time she came up there, she couldn't find me. And come to find out, they had me in there under a different name, so nobody could find me. And I guess that's what they do to keep black men in prison, because I found out they make $3,000 off of every prisoner in there daily, and they're paying us 32 cents a day. So, you know, that took some work, you know, because my wristband, I still remember my prison name, BO4370. That stuck with me for life. And I had the right name on my wristband, but in the computer, they had me under a different name. And one of the COs actually showed it to me. And that's when I told my mom, like, they have me under so-and-so name. And I think she came up there and straightened that out. But, you know, it's a tough place to be mentally. The whole time I was in there, I started off facing 60 years, then some charges dropped off, then it went down to 35, then some charges dropped off, then it dropped down to 15. And my lawyer, my public defender, because I didn't want to pay for a lawyer. I didn't have the money to pay for it. And my mom couldn't afford it at the time because she had just had my twin brother. So I wasn't going to put her in a position to pay for a lawyer for me when I know she got these brand new kids to worry about. So I told her, forget about me. And my lawyer would come visit me and like, everything's going good. It's looking good. You should be out in 2 days. So now mentally, I'm gonna be out in 2 days. I'm excited. I'm bragging about it. I'm telling everybody else. 2 days come, I'm still there. Now depression kicks in. Now I'm thinking, should I kill myself? Like, a lot of people in prison was taking their sheets. They was wrapping their sheets up real tight, and they would tie the sheet around their neck, stuff the sheet down in the toilet. Now these jail toilets, I swear, like, I think you could put anything in there. Once you press that button, it whoosh, sucks it down. So a lot of people was putting the sheets, stuffing it down inside the toilet, and then pressing the button, and it would yank the sheets down and pretty much choke you to death. So guys was doing that in prison. I thought about it a few times because, like I say, they kept, you going home tomorrow. You going, it's like excitement, depression, excitement, depression, excitement, depression. So finally I got to a point where I was like, you know what? This is my new life. You know, fuck all that. You going home, like, this is life. I got a bed to sleep in. I got a TV to watch. I get 3 meals a day. This is my new life. Stop thinking about everything on the outside, because mentally it was tearing me apart. So I had to make peace with the fact that I was going to be in jail for the next couple years. And that's what started making things a lot easier. We had a guy in there named Green, and Green was a tall, real skinny dude, probably about 150 pounds, 160 pounds. And he was always bragging about this murder charge that he had. Yeah, I'm in here for murder. I'm in here for murder. But, you know, we looking at this dude and like, this man couldn't kill a fly. So him and the CO got into it one day. Not gonna call any names, but him and the CO got into it one day, and the CO called us over and showed us his file. Green was in jail for rape. So one day we all sitting at the round table, and the biggest guy in there, his name was Zoe. Zoe was from Kentland. So we was all cool with Zoe. Zoe had 3 daughters. And, so one day we sitting at the round table like we always do, having our chats. And 2 of the guys who saw Green's file, they're like, yeah, so tell us what you in here for. He's like, oh, I killed somebody. And they're like, come on, man. Like, we all criminals. Just tell us the truth. So everybody's egging him on like, yeah, just tell us, man. We all criminals. Ain't no judgment in here. So Green starts talking. He was like, okay, well, I'm in here for raping a 13-year-old girl. And, we saw rape, but we didn't know it was like that. So now I'm looking at this dude like, oh. So he's telling the story, and he's like, yeah, my neighbor, they were throwing a birthday party for their daughter, and they had to run to the store to get some more stuff. So he was like, they called me over and asked me if I could watch the kids play in the backyard for a bit while they, run to the store. So he's like, yeah, all the kids are in the backyard playing kickball. And he's like, this is him telling the story. He's like, the dress she had on, he was like, it just looked so good on her. So he was like, he went to go play with the kids, and behind their house was like a wooded area. So he was like, I kicked the ball off into the woods and I told her go get it. He said when she went in there and she couldn't find it, I decided to go help her. And that's when he held her down and raped her. And he's telling the story, and I'm looking at Zoe's face, and I could tell like he's tensing up, he's getting angry. And I'm looking at Green like, yo, cut it. But, they made him believe that we were all criminals. So, he told his story. So when he was finished, Zoe went to the CO and was like, lock me in cell so-and-so, number so-and-so. Like, give me 2 minutes to get in there. Lock me in. So he grabs Green by the neck and he pulls Green into the cell, and you hear boom. The door slams. And a few minutes later, we hear Green screaming. Like, this man is screaming for bloody murder. Screaming. So, of course, we run over to the door, to take a peek in the window to see what Zoe doing to this man. Like, yeah, Zoe must be fucking him up. And we got to that door and peeked in that window, and Zoe was fucking this man. Like, Zoe had his dick in this man's ass. And we all backed up like, I know he trying to punish him, but that's some gangster shit. Like, I could me personally, I can never punish anybody like that. I'm not that thuggish, if that's even thuggish, but I guess he wanted to give him a taste of what he did to the girl. Part of me get it, but me personally, I couldn't punish anybody like that. So after that, he kept doing it to Green on the regular. Like, when the trays came, he would take his trays. We'd go to the gym. He would pull him in the corner and beat him up. We go in the showers. He'd get in the showers, rape him, go in the cell. And it got so bad, like, Green lost so much weight because he wasn't eating. He got sick. And what this dude started doing, he started shitting in his cell, shitting in his hand, and rubbing it all over the walls in his cell. He would rub shit all over the walls. He started eating his own shit to make him sick. And they basically looked at him as mental, so they moved him from the prison to a mental institute. And we found out a couple months later that he was evaluated at the mental facility and released because he took the mental route. So he never got to do any jail time for his crimes, and I know how that family must feel. I have a daughter now, and I definitely would have took justice into my own hands. So I know that family felt terrible for that. Like, imagine what that little girl who's grown now probably still got to sit with that on her mind, knowing that her attacker is walking around free every day. So that was prison. Went to court a couple times. My charges got dropped down to juvenile. He knocked off the bigger charges, and I ended up getting knocked down to juvenile. So then I got transferred to Cheltenham, which is a juvenile prison. And shortly after, I was released from there. But that was a whole experience. Like I say, if you know anybody in jail, like, you know, check on them. I know them phone calls are expensive, you know, write letters, keep in touch, because the worst feeling is to be in there and feel like nobody on the outside world cares about you. Before I went to jail, I was selling drugs, like I said, so I was taking care of a lot of people. You know, buying them cars, helping them pay their bills, you know, women I was doing stuff for. Those same people, when I was locked up and I was calling, wouldn't accept any of my calls. I wrote letters, never got anything in return. So if you know anybody going through that, like I said, it's a tough place to be mentally. Check on them. In the first episode, I missed out a part where my best friend got killed. I think around 10-11, Stefan got killed. I don't celebrate my birthday because me and Stefan was born on the same day, August 2nd. I was born 4 hours after Stefan. So over the years, you know, being married, being in relationships, people always, oh, your birthday's coming up. What you want to do? Your birthday coming up. Let's celebrate. I've always been afraid for my birthday to come because of Stefan. Like I say, we were around 10-11, I think right before I left Trinidad, and me, Stefan, Ada, Oliver, we was on the beach one night till about 12 a.m., 1 a.m., and we left to go home. So while we're walking home, Stefan is like, I forgot my shoes. So we going right back to the beach in the morning, just leave it. We'll get it in the morning. But he was determined to go get his shoes. So the next morning, my grandmother wakes me up and she's crying like, what happened to Stefan last night? I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. He went to go get his shoes. She was like, they found him dead on the beach this morning. And at that age, you hear about death, but I've never really experienced it, especially with anybody close to me. So it kind of didn't, it really didn't hit me like it should have. And I'm just like, you know, what do you mean he's dead? And she was like, they found him dead on the beach this morning. And the story I was told was they pushed whoever it was that did it. You know, the story we were told was maybe he saw some drugs being brought in or something and he witnessed it and they killed him. But Stefan they pushed a metal rod. They pushed one through his throat and they pushed a metal rod through his stomach, and they took a rock and bashed in his skull on the left side. So when I went to the funeral, it was a closed casket funeral because of how damaged the body was. But, you know, me being close to him, you know, his mom being like a mom to mine, she wanted me to see what was done to her child. And I think seeing that changed my life. Like, you know, I talk about my feelings being shut off for, you know, so many reasons, so many things I've been through. That was one of them. When she opened that casket and showed me Stefan, like, this whole side of his face was purple and like bashed in. You couldn't really tell what the shape of his skull was on this side. And you know, you could see the hole in his throat. You know, mind you, this is Trinidad. You know, it's not a rich country. Some people are rich, but it's not a rich country. And nobody's paying to have that work done, to have a body looking perfect for burial. So, yeah, I saw that hole in his neck, and it was crazy because this was the kid I played with every day. You know, my whole time I was living in Trinidad, like, we were neighbors. You know, we were born on the same day. Like, we were closer than close, me, him, and Ada. And to see that really destroyed me. So when he passed, our birthday was coming up, and I was scared because I felt like I would die too before my birthday or on my birthday. So I've never celebrated my birthday since then because I always felt like I don't want to be celebrating while he's not here to celebrate. And over the years, I've had people tell me I should celebrate because that's what he would want me to do. And people just don't understand when you've been through that type of hurt. You can't celebrate. Even if I want to push myself and celebrate for him, I can't, because every time I think about him, that picture of him in that casket is what I see. I don't remember the boy that I used to play with. I don't remember the person I used to climb trees with, eat mangoes with, go fishing with, catching crab. I don't remember that person. The image I have of him is the last image I saw. So I didn't mention it in the first episode because I know I've completely blocked that out of my head, because like I said, whenever I think about him, I see that version of him with his skull smashed in and that hole in his throat. My grandfather also died, the one I talked about in Trinidad, that always showed me love no matter who disliked me or hated me because of the color of my skin. And like I said, I used to go buy him about 5 packs of cigarettes, like a carton on the regular. Like I said, he was a chain smoker. And when he died from cancer, and I kind of got blamed for him dying. My grandmother felt like it was my fault because I was the one that used to go get him the cigarettes. That's a lot to put on a child. I had to live with that feeling of her saying that the only person that loved you, you killed. Who else I know passed away? My girlfriend in high school, Candy passed away when we were in high school. Jamaican chick I used to date. Candy was cool, always used to come around Willowbrook and hang out with us and stuff. And back in the days we didn't have cell phones. I know I'm getting old, so yeah. Back in the days we didn't have cell phones, so nobody was checking on each other on the regular. We saw people in person. So I would see Candy at school during the week, and on the weekends she would come come over and hang out, or I would go to her place and hang out. And one day, we're sitting in geometry class, and the teacher made an announcement that Candy passed away. I was just sitting there like, what? And they said she had a blood clot in her brain, and it killed her. And that hurt too, and I've always had this like internal joke in my head for years. Some people might not like it, and I'm not making fun of Candy dying, because I definitely had a lot of love for Candy, but I was like a Jamaican dying from a blood clot. Same thing, they run around screaming all day long is what killed her. So that was always like my internal joke to remember Candy, because we always had these Trini Jamaican jokes, the stuff that Trini do that's funny to Jamaicans, and the stuff that Jamaicans do that's funny to Trinis. So definitely miss Candy. It's one person I prayed that would die for a very long time. With all the stuff I've been through with my mom, I used to pray that my mom die every night. She's still alive. She's not dead. But I feel like when you wish that on somebody, I feel like it makes them live longer. And I remember I used to pray for that every night. It was part of my prayer. It was part of my routine. Like, Lord, take her away. End it. Either take me or take her. I don't feel like that anymore. Me and my mom, we got a pretty decent relationship right now. I remember a couple years ago, I was given some advice to just tell her how you feel. And I remember I called her and I was like, I need to get something off my chest, and I need you to listen. I don't need you to say anything until I tell you that I'm finished. So I told her how I felt about her. I told her that because of her, I couldn't love, I couldn't trust. I felt like I had a black hole in my heart, and I blamed everything on her, because that's how my mom raised me. No love, no nothing. I felt like I was raised like a wolf. And I told her how I felt about her, but I told her in a nice way, because most of the people that I've known to go down this road and tell their parents or tell whoever it is how they feel, the person usually acts like they don't remember, or they didn't do it, or sure it was me. So I said everything I had to say to her in a nice, respectful way, because I was hoping she'd say something like, no, that wasn't me, or I don't remember that, and then I was gonna go off on her and say all the fucked up shit I really wanted to say and use the words that I really wanted to use. But I gained a lot of respect for my mom that day. Respect that I never had for her. I gained a lot of respect for her that day. After I said what I said and I told her I was finished, my mom said, so where do we go from here? I was so confused because I didn't know what she was talking about. And she was like, obviously this is bothering you. You're still thinking about it. You're still dwelling on it. She was like, I'm living my life. I'm going on every day living my life. I'm not thinking about that. It's not bothering me. It's not hindering me. It's not affecting me in any way. But it seems like it's still affecting you. It's hindering your life. It's keeping you from moving forward. So how do we fix this? Do we continue going down the same road, or do we put it behind us and start fresh? And yeah, I was shocked. I was definitely shocked. So, she apologized, and then she told me about her circumstances growing up, the stuff she'd been through. I don't really want to put her business out there, but she's been through some terrible stuff. And I would just say is most of the things women go through. It's a common thing women go through, young women, like the young girl I explained about earlier, stuff like that my mom has been through on a constant, regular basis. So she explained to me that she did the best that she could with me. What was passed down to her, she passed it down to me. That part I didn't respect, because I feel like somebody has to break the cycle. You were abused, so you abuse me. I didn't do that to my kids, and I would never do that to my kids, because I'm not going to use that as an excuse like, oh, well, I abuse y'all because I was abused. Somebody has to break the cycle. My father, good old David, part of me still hope he dies. That's not something that would ever go away. With my mom, that feeling went away. We talked about it. With him, I think that's one of those situations where, if God told me I either change the way I feel about him or I'll die today, I think I would choose to die today. I don't ever see that feeling being lifted. I don't ever see that situation as, oh, I'ma forget it. I've forgiven everybody that's done wrong to me, because I've done wrongs to a lot of people, and I pray they forgive me. So I forgive him for everything he's done. It made me stronger. It made me better. I don't treat my kids the way he treated me. So yeah, I've forgiven him, but I ain't forgetting shit at all. I will never forget that. So I still hope every single day. Like, I know he's sick now. People tell me, oh, he's sick. Call him, talk to him. He's writing me letters. He's calling me. He's getting his friends to call me. Like, that ship has sailed. And I would rather be buried 6 feet under before I deal with that man, or not feel like he should perish. I don't want anything out of it. So that's just it. My grandmother passed away. My father's mother, the one I considered to be racist, the one that made me drink bleach, the one that scrubbed my skin with a Brillo till it bled, because she used to tell me I was dirty because I wasn't light skinned. I was dirt on my skin. She had to scrub the dirt off. Before she died, she did exactly what I thought my mom would. Like, after my son got older and stuff, me and her started talking. And she used to tell me how proud of me she was. Oh, you did so well, and I'm so proud of you, and I knew you was gonna become something, and I hear your music and I hear the stories, and you did this and you did this. And I used to just sit on the phone and listen, because I was told that my cousins, my father's oldest brother, his kids, her favorites, didn't turn out to be shit. I was told both of them on crack, drugs, really heavy, in and out of jail. So the kid she was proud of turned out not to be shit. And the little black ass one that she never wanted did pretty well for himself. So she would always brag and talk about how proud she was and how amazing I turned out. And my dislike for that lady never went away. So when she died, and this is all stuff I'm being told, so I don't want anybody to hold it against me like that's a lie, I was there. It's just, this stuff is going on in Trinidad. I'm in America. I'm not there to see it myself. It's just stories that I'm being told. So I was told that at her funeral, on her, whatever it is, the pamphlet they make that lists all the funeral information on it, that all her grandsons were listed on there. All her grandkids were listed on there, except for me. I don't know why I was told this, because I really didn't give a fuck. Didn't affect me no way, no how. So, but people like to carry news. So I was told that. And I was also told that when the people at the funeral asked my dad, well, where's Dion? What happened to Dion? His reply was, Dion died a long time ago. And part of me really believes that, because I still have a brother in Trinidad. My father's in Trinidad. My grandmother's in Trinidad. My aunt's in Trinidad. I have a lot of family in Trinidad. But when I talk to my little brother, and he's telling me, well, I was at auntie house, or I was at grandma house, or I was doing this. And when I say my other grandmother, my mom's mom, he's with all these people. And over the years, I always asked him, like, anybody ask about me? You talk to me on the regular. Anybody ask about me? No, we don't. We don't bring you up. We don't talk about you. I'm like, so in all these years, nobody has asked you, have you talked to Dion? Nope. And like I said in the first episode, I disappeared from Trinidad without anybody really knowing. Certain people got to see me on Facebook later on in the years, my music stuff, my travels, everything I did, they got to see it. But some people still have no clue what's going on with me. But that statement my dad made, the feeling that I had in jail, I do feel like my life ended. I feel like I'm looking through, the windows of somebody else's life. I feel like I'm in the back somewhere, looking through these windows and watching somebody move around in my body, see the things that I should be seeing, and living a life that I should be living. So when my dad made that statement, Dion died a long time ago, it definitely feels believable. Because like I said, nobody to this day asked about me. I think I left Trinidad 26 years ago, and nobody over the years, nobody asked about me. But I want those people to know I'm very much alive. Even though I might not feel like it or believe it, I am me. So, it is what it is. I just try my best to not make stuff affect me, and I try to live every day for my kids. I try to do everything I could to be the best that I can be, to leave as much as I could leave for them when I die. But I hope y'all don't look at me as a bad person for, wishing and hoping people perish. I think we all feel that way about somebody in the back of our heads, even though we might never come out and admit it. Like I say, I just try to be as real as possible. Everyone might not understand why I think the way I think. They might not support it. They might not agree with it, but I'm me. When you talk to me, when you deal with me, this is what you get. So that man, yes, I've been waiting on that day for a very long time. Every time my little brother texts me or call me, I'd be like, yes, Lord. Yes. What's up, bro? Oh man, I'm doing this. I'm on an island here, yacht party here, we jerking chicken here, we on the beach here. And I'd be like, yeah, anything else? Nah. Like, how's everybody? Everybody fine. I'm like, whatever, man. I'll talk to you later on. Like, I really thought you was calling with some with some news. But when he dies, I will be at their funeral. I don't care what I'm doing. I don't care where I am in the world. I'm going to make sure that they put that man in the ground. Burn him, throw him off a cliff. I don't care what they do with him. Let buzzers eat his body. I need to be there to witness it myself. And I think one of the reasons I'm clinging on to life is because I don't want to die before he does. I refuse to. I will not allow it. And I think that's why I push through a lot of stuff I've been through in my life. A lot of pain, I pushed through because I always felt like I will be there to see my parents go into the ground. Not my mom so much anymore, but him, yes. And I hope that while I'm at that funeral, somebody there look at me and be like, oh, Dion, get up and say something nice about your father. Boy, I've been dreaming about this for years. Like, it's all been planned out in my head, and I just want to get up there and be like, David Noel Caracciolo ain't shit. Fuck that nigga. I'm happy his bitch ass is dead. I'm happy I survived to witness it. Glad to be here. Where the food and the drinks at? What's going on after this? Hey man, I want to thank y'all for hanging out with me. Once again, this is Mistakes Make a Man, and don't be like me, y'all. Be better than me. I say that, I mean it. I love y'all. I wish y'all the best, and to anybody out there listening to me, I wish millions on you this year. For 2026, I pray that all of y'all dreams come true. Not a hater. I never hated on anyone. I want to see everybody succeed. I want to see everybody get to a point where they could take care of their families and their loved ones without any stress. So I wish millions on all of you, and I pray all of y'all dreams come through this year. Once again, thank you for hanging out with me, and I'll see y'all for the next one. But fuck that nigga. I'll be at his funeral.
Every decision has a story. Every mistake has a lesson. Before you judge a man's choices, understand the mind that made them. I'm not saying every decision is right, but who are you to judge a life you've never lived? This is Mistakes Make a Man with Dion FOBB REEP Caracciolo. Until next time, grow through what you go through.